as everyone tries to hold back their smiles. I see you, Emily. You're trying to smile and you're trying to hold it back. I can see that. How many of y'all like laughing? Laughing feels good, doesn't it? Smiling feels good. So why do we see so little of it? I started wondering that here lately. Why don't we see as many smiles nowadays? Why is there so much sadness? And I started writing down a couple of reasons why I think there's so much sadness these days. First reason I came up to was during the hard times, it's naturally easier to be sad than to be happy. Whenever you're going through something, it's pretty hard to keep smiling or to keep trying to be happy. It really is easier to just feel the moment. The second thing I found was some people, not saying this is y'all, I'm saying this actually used to be me, but some people prefer to be sad because it gets them the kind of attention that they want. Sometimes people just want people to come and care for them or to feel some kind of sympathy towards them for whatever reason. Third thing I found, which is a touchy subject, is anxiety and depression. That is a very big thing nowadays. There's a lot of anxiety and depression these days, and whether that be from things like traumatic events in people's lives, or whether it be some kind of medical condition like chemical imbalances in the brain, things like that. Anxiety and depression is a very common cause for sadness. The fourth thing I found was some people just don't seem to have a reason to be happy. We find that there's a lot of people who go through very tough lives and they don't have much joy. They haven't been brought much joy. There's a lot of people, sadly, that just don't know who Jesus is. They've never heard of Jesus. I actually was surprised not too long ago by some new students that came to our Sunday school class. And I was surprised by how very little they actually knew about Jesus. But it was very eye-opening. There's a lot of people out there who don't know about it. And then for number 5, I found that it wasn't just one of these things, but it was all of these things. All of things are what are causing a lot of sadness in the world right now. So what can we do about all this sadness? How can we fix this problem? Well, there's one person who can fix this. His name is Jesus. And I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons how and why, or specifically how, Jesus would fix this stuff. Let's see, the Bible gives a couple of reasons. First one we're talking about is why it's easier to be sad in hard times. Okay, so the thing about being sad in hard times is it doesn't help the situation. As easy as it is and as much as it seems right to just give in to that sadness, it actually makes the situation harder and makes the situation carry on. It lingers. If we want to get out of these situations, we have to get out of that sadness. We have to stop giving into that sadness. The verse I found for that was Romans 15:13. It says, "Now the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that ye may abound in hope through the power of the Holy Ghost." Can someone tell me what hope is? No one? Okay, my definition of hope is the mindset that at the end of the road, things are going to be better. It's having that faith that at the end of all of this, everything is going to work out and everything is going to be just fine. That's what hope is. And we find hope in Jesus. Whenever we give ourselves up to Jesus and He gives us that joy that He gives us, that's what brings about that hope in us. That yes, things are going to be better. It's tough right now, but it's going to get better. I know it is. And sure enough, it does. Believe you me, it does. Then the second thing was that some want the attention and care. I can say from personal experience that if you're looking for attention from people, for you being sad all the time, it's going to give you the wrong image, and it's going to give you the wrong kind of attention. I know this from experience because before, most of y'all, or some of y'all, knew me in 11th grade and 12th grade, but before those years, I was known for having these things called pity parties. Basically, I would sit around all day with my lip poked out and hope that somebody would come to talk to me. And it worked whenever it first started because people were like, why are you upset? What's going on? Talk to us. And then after a while, they just considered me a pity partier. While my friends were having fun parties, I was having pity parties. And it didn't get me the right kind of attention, and it didn't get me the attention that I really wanted. So after I finally came to my senses in like 11th grade, I finally, turned myself over to Jesus, and he brought that joy back in me that I had kind of given up on because I wanted to be sad. And after that happened, I found myself actually connecting with more people, and I started making more friends, and I actually got the attention I wanted. And then in the moments where I actually was really upset and something really bad was taking place, they were able to come to me and they were able to help me out. So that's why I do not recommend, I don't know if any of y'all do this, I'm not pointing fingers at any of y'all saying y'all do this. But if this is something that you do, I highly recommend that you stop doing that, because it's not going to help you in the way that you think it is. Trust me, it doesn't. Let's see. Number 3 is depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety come from, like I said, either traumatic events in your lives or medical conditions like chemical imbalances in the brain. And I'm here to tell you that no matter the reason for it coming about, Jesus can take care of both of them. So the first verse I got is Psalms 147:3. It says, He healeth the broken in heart, and bindeth up their wounds. In other words, no matter what's taking place in your life, no matter what scars you have on your heart from those times, Jesus can heal that, and he can bring you peace in those situations. And then James 5:15 says, And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up, and if he has committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. In other words, no matter what affliction you have on your body, no matter what ailment, no matter what situation is taking place in your body. It could be in your brain, it could be in your actual body, like a sickness or something like that. No matter what it is, God can heal it. Because remember, God created our bodies. God created man. So it only makes sense that God can do the repairs necessary to fix man. So no matter what condition you have, God has the ability to heal it. But the thing is, we have to go to him and search for healing. We can't just wallow in what we have. Now, I'm not saying that's what depression is, but we can't just accept what we have and then expect to be healed of it and then be upset whenever we don't get healed of it. If we have something that we know God can heal and we want him to heal it, then we have to go to him and ask him, please heal this. And the Lord will heal it. The Lord will heal it. He keeps his word. And then with depression and anxiety, I'm actually going to bring up 2 examples. I have 2 friends, Ethan and Mallory. They're like my best friends. I see them all the time. They go to church with me. They used to battle depression and anxiety for quite a long time. They both had some pretty messed up things happen in their lives. I'm not going to go into what that is because that's pretty personal to them. But they went through some things in their lives, and they ended up having a lot of depression and anxiety. Whenever they got into church, though, after some time living for the Lord and seeking after God, the Lord actually started bringing that out of them and started filling them with this joy and peace that they never felt before. And Mallory, she says this is her favorite testimony. She said that she was actually on antidepressants for a long time. And one day she finally decided that she was going to get off the medication and she was going to give herself completely to God to take care of. So one day she just went cold turkey on her antidepressants. Today she is literally the happiest and most energetic person I've ever met. And sometimes it's a lot. And she's changed a lot ever since then But you see, she had that faith to give herself to God. She had that faith that if she did give herself to God, that she would be healed, that she didn't need man-made substances to heal her of her depression. And I'm not knocking medicine and things like that. You know, those things are needed. Our bodies do need medicine. But what I'm saying is she had faith that she could receive full healing from God. And when she demonstrated that faith, she got full healing from God. So take those two examples and have some faith that whatever it is that you struggle with, whether it be mental, whether it be physical, God will heal you of it. But we have to seek after Him first. And then we have those who don't seem to have a reason to be happy. I think I can put this down now. Those who don't have a reason to be happy. I'm going to get close up here. This is kind of an indention right here. It kind of gives me room to get up close to you. There is quite a good reason for us to be happy. Who here knows John 3:16? You want to quote it for me?
For God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son, and whosoever believeth on Him shall not perish but have everlasting life.
Excellent. So, God gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. How good does that sound? Everlasting life. And this isn't everlasting life like life on earth. That would be torture. This everlasting life is life with Him, a life in peace, a life in joy, a life without pain, without suffering, without sadness. This should give us a reason to be very happy, because while we are dealing with things right now, if we turn ourselves over to Jesus, we have something down the road that is going to completely just knock all this stuff that we've dealt with here. I have a feeling when I get to heaven, I'm not even going to remember all this stuff, because I'm going to be too caught up in what's going on up there. Heaven and the eternal life that God is bringing to us is going to make this life so much more worth it if we live for God. Because no matter what takes place down here, it's not permanent. Everything on this earth is temporary. And everything that we have up there will be eternal. So take some joy in that no matter what you go through down here, whenever you get up there, none of this is going to matter. None of this stuff that you've gone through is going to matter. Yeah, it'll build you up and give you strength to get through this life, but take some comfort and peace and joy in knowing that there's a life after this where you won't have to deal with any of this anymore. Now, all of these things like sadness, anxiety, depression, all that stuff, it all comes from one thing. And that is the sin that entered the world in the Garden of Eden. Thank you, Adam and Eve. Very happy about that. It all comes from that one thing. What do you think is going to happen whenever you turn yourself over to Jesus? Think about it. If you're not living for God, you're not living a life with Jesus, and you're just trying to live this life on this world on your own, what's going to combat the sadness? What's going to combat the anxiety, the depression, the fear, the anger? Nothing's going to combat that, because we don't have any defense mechanisms, you could say. We don't have anything to go against it to keep us from it. Now, whenever we do live for Jesus, when we turn our lives over to God, He gives us this spiritual defense that kind of pushes back against those things. Yeah, we still experience them. They still come about because now they're natural responses. But we no longer have to sit there and succumb to it. We no longer have to sit there and just let these things take place in our life. And whenever these things do happen, they're not going to linger with us. They're not always going to weigh us down. Whenever we give ourselves to Jesus, these things actually lift off of us, and they no longer become a burden for us. No matter what took place in the past, no matter what things you've gone through, they will no longer weigh down on you anymore. It's like, that song Chain Breaker? It's kind of like chains breaking. That's what it feels like. Most of your life you kind of feel like this, with the weight of the world and all the things that you go through, feel kind of bound. You can't really move very much, and you're restricted. But once Jesus comes into the equation, all of that breaks away, and you suddenly have movement. You have freedom. Jesus is the way out of sadness. Jesus is the key to true happiness. So don't go looking for things in this world to bring you joy and happiness. Because there are things in this world that'll say, do this, do that. You will be happy after this. This will take all the pain away. It won't. And believe me, I have quite a few testimonies. I have friends who have quite a few testimonies of partaking in things of this world to bring them happiness or even numbness. And it didn't do any of what it was expected to do. All it did was increase the pain and cause more trauma. So don't allow the sadness to twist your direction and get you to do things that you normally wouldn't do in order to make yourself happy or to bring about some joy in your life, because it's just going to take you deeper and deeper and deeper into sadness. And then one day you're going to look around and you're going to wonder how you got this deep in sadness, how you got to this point in your life. You used to be so much better, you used to be so much happier. What happened? It's because you didn't look towards Jesus, you looked towards what the world was saying. So don't follow the world, follow Jesus. He's got the actual guidance for you. See, he knows what's down the road. Who do you think I'm going to believe in? The guy who actually knows what's going to happen, or the world that's just kind of taking a guess? I'm going to lead in this direction. Let's see, I got one more thing. Can I use this board? Awesome. Thought about this yesterday. I was pretty impressed, actually. Let's see. That right there is a plate, in case you're wondering. This plate represents your soul or your heart, or basically just you. What I'm going to put on this plate is what the world has put on us. That's somewhat a rotten burger. I'm not going to be a perfectionist with my art today, don't judge me. But let's just say that this is a rotten burger. And there's plenty of room over here, so we're going to put some ugly looking French fries or something. We're going to call those soggy, rotten French fries. This is what the world has given us. The ingredients to these are things like sadness, depression, anxiety, fear, anger, sin. That's what the ingredients to these are. Yummy meal, isn't it? No, I see 2 thumbs down back there. He's like, no, I don't like that. So, here's what God is trying to give us. Don't judge my drawing. What do you think that looks like? Without judging me.
The sun.
Huh? The sun. No, it's not the sun. Maybe it is a biscuit. Maybe I did draw a biscuit. We're going to say that, don't laugh, this is a good burger and those are good fries. Don't laugh at them.
But just me.
It's a hamburger. But this is what God's trying to give us. But God can't give us that until our plate is wiped away, until our plate is empty. So we can't have this and this too. So what we gotta do, womp, 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 womp. Throw that in the trash. Throw those rotten ingredients in the trash so that God can give you the good ingredients, which are things like love, joy, peace, guidance, strength, salvation, most of all. Don't you think that the ingredients for these are a lot better than the ingredients in these? Yeah, I'm going to eat these. I don't want to spend my life puking up from this stuff. I'd rather eat the biscuit. I'd rather eat the biscuit. So what I'm gonna wrap up on is the simple question: what meal are you gonna eat from? That's kind of corny, but it's the quote that I'm giving y'all. What meal are you gonna eat from? Are you gonna take from the one that brings about anger and sadness and depression, things like that? Or are you gonna take from the one that brings you joy and peace and love and brings you through the hard times? I'll leave that up to y'all. That's all I got, Miss Ingram. I'll turn it on back over to you.